The fast food worker was caught by surprise when he heard a distinctive sound coming from the restroom of the Burger King he was working in Allentown, Pennsylvania. There was no denying those were the cries of a newborn baby. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Daily Dose, like, and share this video with your friends. He ran into the bathroom and saw that there was indeed a tiny baby there wrapped in a sweater. The baby was just around 3 hours old, but was already all alone in the world. The fast food worker was confused and sad at the same time. Of course, he knew that he needed to call for backup. He had no idea what to do with the baby, so he decided to call emergency services right away. They rushed to the Burger King restaurant to find the baby, who turned out to be a girl. Alive and all right, emergency services took the baby into care. From that moment on, the search to find her mom began. In fact, one child development officer said, "Right now, we're the only thing this kid's got in terms of a family." News outlets managed to hear about this intriguing story and decided to cover it. They went to the Burger King where the baby was found and interviewed the worker who found the baby girl in the bathroom. The poor, confused worker took TV crews into the restroom so he could reenact the events that happened earlier. He recalled, "I heard a kid was crying in the bathroom, so I went in. You know, you don't expect nothing like that. I don't know what to say." Meanwhile, the baby was taken to the hospital so she could be checked. The two paramedics who took her in were absolutely smitten by her. One ambulance officer said, "She is a beautiful baby. She really is." The other paramedic relayed the sad backstory of the little girl, saying, "The only sure thing was the baby was alive when we were en route. I'm sure whoever gave her up is having a very hard time right now." This tragic story happened more than 3 decades ago. To be more specific, it happened on the 15th of September, 1986. Since then, the incident has led the baby to be famously called Burger King Baby. Police officers tried looking for the mother of this baby by interviewing locals and looking for fingerprints. They also tried searching the local area to see if they'd find something. Sadly, their search was unsuccessful. While police officers began the search for the mom, the baby was adopted by a local couple named Brenda and Carl Hollis. As the years passed, the hope of ever finding the baby's mom was starting to fade. Meanwhile, the couple raised the girl, now named Catherine, like their own daughter, and loved and cherished her presence in their lives. However, Brenda knew one day Catherine would have to look for her mom. Brenda was determined not to stand in the way should Catherine ever want to find her biological mother. Finally, in 1998, when Catherine turned 12, Carl and Brenda Hollis broke the news to her about who they really were. Over the years, the couple had actually kept a scrapbook of pictures and newspaper articles about Burger King Baby. They showed Catherine this collection that they kept hidden until the right day came. The clippings all detailed what happened to Catherine as a baby. From the moment Catherine found out the truth, she had this need inside her to find out who her real mom is and look for her. Of course, her adoptive parents understood, and they were fully supportive of this wish. As Catherine explained on the Today Show, "You just wonder where you come from. I would never want to replace my adopted family, but being adopted, a part of you is missing, and unless you've been adopted, you really just don't understand that." As Catherine outgrew her teenage years, she began to pursue a career in medicine as a technician. She then got married and had 3 kids herself. However, this nagging desire to look for her mom never left Catherine's mind. Finally, in 2014, when Catherine was 27, she gave in to the desire and began looking for her biological mom. Thankfully, it was at the time when social media was growing bigger and bigger, so Catherine decided to use that platform as the first step. Many adopted children are scared of finding their biological parents because of this deep fear that their parents might reject them. If the parents gave them away before, that means they never really wanted kids, right? Well, life isn't always black and white. Sometimes parents gave up their children out of desperation. Maybe they had no other choice and wanted their kids to have a shot at a better life. We must not be quick to judge people who give their children up for adoption. Armed with pictures of herself and her whole history as the Burger King Baby, Catherine went on Facebook to share her story. She hoped enough people would see it and maybe help her track her biological mother down. With 2 sheets of paper and a felt pen, she wrote her message. It began with, "Looking for my birth mother," and ended with, "Maybe she will see this. Thank you." Well, Catherine was about to get the surprise of her life. Indeed, the Facebook post got the attention Catherine hoped it would. After more than 30,000 shares from people all around the world, her biological mom actually did see it. 2 weeks after it was posted, Kathy Pochek reached out. Kathy Pochek is the woman who left Catherine in that Burger King bathroom 27 years ago. It turns out Kathy's backstory is unfortunately as tragic as that paramedic from many years back had guessed. This is why it's always important to hear what the person has to say first before we make our judgment. Sadly, Kathy was also just a young teen, 16 to be exact, when she suffered a traumatic event that changed her life. While traveling in another country with her family, Kathy endured a traumatic event which would lead to an unexpected pregnancy. Filled with humiliation, she gave birth to her baby in her bedroom before secretly rushing to the nearby Burger King and leaving her baby in the bathroom. Catherine was already in her late 20s, had her own family, and was mature enough to understand why her mom did what she did. Although she would have liked to have been raised by her birth mom, she understood the desperation her mom felt. Indeed, as the family appeared on the Today Show, she said, "She left me somewhere she knew I'd be found. She did not want to throw me away." For Catherine, what mattered is that she finally got to meet the woman who brought her into the world. During a teary-eyed reunion on the show, Catherine finally met the mom she had yearned to meet for a huge part of her life. Then, Catherine realized that the Burger King baby with no family now had two families to turn to. As you can see in the photo, Catherine is seated on the right side. The woman in the middle is birth mom Kathy, while adoptive mom Brenda is seated on the right side. Now, Catherine's life was complete. Life has a funny way of throwing the most random coincidences at you. It turns out the mother-daughter pair shared several coincidences. For example, Kathy actually knew the man who is now Catherine's husband. For quite some time, many years ago, Kathy was the babysitter for this boy who is now Catherine's husband. So Kathy had actually known her son-in-law far longer than Catherine ever had. But that wasn't all. Aside from that, there were still other bizarre yet amazing coincidences. For example, they shared a strikingly similar name. Kathy's real name is Catherine Ann, while her daughter was christened Catherine Ann, unbeknownst to her adoptive parents. Oddly enough, both mother and daughter drove the same make and model of a car. Lastly, they actually both work as emergency medical technicians. Aren't those such remarkable coincidences? Life truly is such a mystery. So did Catherine get her happily ever after? It's safe to say she did. She was wholeheartedly grateful for getting to meet her birth mom. For so many years, she had this nagging question in her heart. Now she finally had an answer. "I got the hug that I had wanted for the last 27 years, and that broke the ice," she said. "I asked if I could have it, and she said, 'Absolutely,' and just held her arms open, and the rest is history. It looked like I was looking in a mirror." When the pair first met, they exchanged stories and talked for about 4 hours. "We are definitely going to have a relationship," Kathy said. After all this time, it seemed as if the pair never lost contact. "I'm really glad you came looking for me," Kathy added. Since that fateful day, Catherine and Kathy have continued to meet. After not seeing each other for 27 years, they had a lot of catching up to do, don't you think? Meanwhile, Brenda, Catherine's adoptive mom, does not feel put out at all, nor does she feel jealous of the pair's relationship. Instead, she was glad her daughter was able to discover the identity of her birth mother. Smiling, Brenda said, "She had been talking about it for a long time. Never in a million years did we expect this to happen. Brenda's just glad everything has worked out well for Catherine. No matter what, she will still be there for her daughter."